This is my third time recording this video, and I actually prefer this version because I've managed to share my story exactly how I want to, how I had intended to. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you drew inspiration from it. I hope that you might have learned something, and if not, I hope there is something you can teach. Please share it down in the comments. I would love to hear about your own experiences and all the setbacks you've faced, and even how you've managed to overcome them, if you're still overcoming them. I love you, and I'm rooting for you.
Walk around without my mask on so that you can hear me better. I don't know, it's a park, and it's possible that people are watching and they might come over to me and say, put your mask on. And I don't want them to have to do that because everybody knows we're in a pandemic. So I think I might keep it on until I'm sitting or something. I just left a cafe where some friends and I had some coffee. That seems to be a very common pastime in Spain. Café con leche, have some coffee. Not necessarily coffee with milk, but having coffee seems to be a common thing. And I was also thinking to myself that it is so interesting how you can meet people from all over the world and you share so many common things, and initially you think you're strangers and you think that you might not have anything in common because you're not from the same place. And I love having those surprises because these people that I had some coffee with today, they're from Ireland, England, and while we were there we were talking a lot about Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, and I mean they're from this side of the world, so it seems pretty obvious almost. One would assume that they would be familiar with these shows, but we were discussing a lot of Netflix series and movies, and I love when I connect with people like that, people who I would initially think would be different than I am. Oh my gosh, the sun! Is your girl glowing? Is she glowing? I think I might do the rest of the video right here because of the sun. Two old ladies watching me, but I don't care. Alright, let me see how this looks and then I'm gonna talk to you again. I was passing an area that had some real good natural lighting, and I think I'm gonna stay here for a minute, so I hope it's not hurting your eyes. Right, so what I was saying is that that's one of the main reasons why I wanted to live an international life. I wanted to move to Europe, and I mean it could have been anywhere else in the world, but I wanted to move to Europe, one, to learn a foreign language officially, and to immerse myself in the culture. Not only the language, but do what the people do, live how the people live. And it was, I want to say, an easy choice to come to Spain. One, because I've been to Spain before and I really liked it. I went to Barcelona and Barcelona made a very good impression. And so I thought, you know what, let's try Spain. And I learned Spanish in high school, so I had a bit of that to start with. Right, so what really brought me to the realization that I wanted to move away and live somewhere else was last year when I was laid off from a job. I was working at a hotel, and as you can imagine, because of the type of industry that it is, something like a global pandemic, you're gonna go home. And I was one of the people who went home. Now, it wasn't that devastating because as a fashion designer I have the skill of being a seamstress, and so I do it well, and a coworker had recommended to me to make some masks, which I did, and I ended up doubling my income, so it wasn't such a bad thing. And Derek was working from home too. I had the company of my husband. We just got married and we were able to spend a lot of time together as newlyweds, so those things were good. However, I remember particularly one evening he was doing some work in the living room and I was watching TV, and this sort of sadness just came over me, where I started to feel a bit unaccomplished and uninspired, unachieved, especially because of the fact that I haven't completed tertiary education as yet, right? And then I was thinking, so when it's time to get a new job, what am I gonna do? am I going to go back to the call center or being a receptionist? I wanted more. And as gifted as I do believe I am, and talented when it comes to creating, and the way in which I express that talent is in making clothing, I think I do well at it, but I didn't see myself doing it long term. I didn't see myself, just being a fashion designer and being okay with that. Absolutely nothing is wrong with it. I love clothing. I still love to make clothes. However, as a career and doing it for the rest of my life, I wanted to do more, and I wanted to learn more about myself. I suppose I wanted to see what more I was made of. And oftentimes God gives us a lot of talents, a lot of gifts, and we don't allow ourselves the opportunity to tap into them and discover more about ourselves. And I think I was being called to do that. Siren. Okay, right, where was I? So yeah, I think I was being called to do that. I had come to the realization that I wanted to do more, and I wanted to give myself the opportunity, especially being a young person. I'm 26 and I don't have any children yet. I felt like this was the right time. So I had all these dreams, or in that moment I started to think about that desire that I've had for years now, about living an international life and experiencing a completely different culture from my own. And I asked myself, Colette, why not? What seriously is stopping you? Like, why can't you? What's the reason? And that's when the doubt and the fear start to come in. You start to tell yourself, well, not really you tell yourself, but your bank account tell you, so you don't have the money, and maybe you can use the money to do other things. You start to talk yourself out of it, right? And what I ended up doing was telling myself that there's nothing that I have, no special skill, nothing really to offer where any company is gonna want to hire me. Because if it is that you're gonna aspire to get a work visa, usually what countries want to see in issuing your work visa is that, okay, you're deserving, this country has a shortage in this particular field, you specialize in this particular field, we want you, we are going to sponsor your visa. I don't have a degree, right? So, and people don't really pay for work visa to get seamstresses or fashion designers. So in one moment I was inspired, and then in another moment I was discouraged, because yes, I have this dream and I have this fire and passion, I want to do more, but how am I going to do it? What do I have to offer? Anyways, I decided to do some research, and I came up on this platform called Internations, where international people can connect and get to know each other. And the platform allows you to see people's country of origin and the countries in which they live now. So I was able to find people who were from Jamaica living in Spain, because I had decided on Spain. Reached out to a couple Jamaicans, and several responded positively. Reached out to ask them, hey, I'm thinking about making a transition. What do you recommend? What can I do? Reached out to one person who I still keep in touch with to this day, ToniAnn. And ToniAnn, you're a blessing, and thank you so much for all the help that you've offered me. She recommended getting a TEFL, which is a certification to teach English as a foreign language. Now, I've always been good at English in school, and I've even gotten awards for it. So I'm thinking, okay, well, I don't really have any degree, but that's something I could do, especially if I get certified. And she told me that, schools are looking for English teachers, and I'm like, well, perfect. I can see myself educating. Derek always say how I'm always trying to educate someone, and I used to laugh at it, but now that is what I'm doing. Now that is what I'm actually doing, I find it so fulfilling. So anyways, ToniAnn recommended getting a TEFL, teaching English as a foreign language, and she also shared her blog with me that I'm going to share with you. And I read it, and my goodness, it was such an inspiration to read that someone actually took the path that I'm thinking about taking. She had basically a stable, comfortable life in the US in a completely different field, and she visited Spain and she loved it, and she thought, what the hell, I want to move, and why not? So she packed up her things, she got a visa, and she moved to Spain to teach. And I don't believe she had, well, actually, I'm not going to tell her story. I'm going to share her blog, and you can visit it and read it. So, you know, I took her advice, and yeah, decided to pay for the certification, the TEFL, with an organization called ITTT, International TEFL and TESOL Training. So a lot of programs that are looking for teachers or language assistants in these foreign countries. Yes, degrees are important. A lot of them want people with degrees, but they also want people with this level of certification, because yeah, you've been to college, but can you teach a foreign language even if you speak it, and do you really understand the empathy that it requires? So it's a very useful course, and they allow you like 6 months to do it. Me now, because me will want work, me do it in a 1 month. Not only that, but I had a lot of free time, because remember, I'm laid off and I'm working from home making masks. So I completed the course, and I'm thinking, okay, hold on, I feel like I should move. I feel like I should move. I'm in this beautiful park, but because the sun is so good, I don't really want to come out of the way. Whatever, you don't understand. Natural light. Yeah, so because me well want work, or if I finish the people M course, and you would think that, okay, I have the certification that they said that they need. Now it's time to get a job, or it's time to get an internship. So I was excited and pumped. I was on my way, right? Wrong, you guys. So yeah, I started to apply to a lot of these programs and organizations, and it was a lot more discouraging than I had anticipated. I got so many no's. A lot of these organizations, yes, they're looking for teachers, but one, the most obvious, they want a degree. I don't have that. But two, they are looking for English speakers who are from the US, from the UK, Ireland, Australia, Canada. They're not checking for any Jamaicans particularly, right? And that's something I obviously can't change. I suppose they're looking for very specific accents. So several programs responded to me and say, no, or we don't have any partnership with Jamaica. So that really hit me, and I started to rethink this whole thing. Look how I take up my money in a pandemic, pay for course, and now I can't, or I don't even know if I'm ever going to be successful, and if I'm ever going to, achieve this thing. And I started to regret it, seriously. I'm going to speak one day on how I was able to tackle doubt and fear, and how to really talk to yourself, and what helps in boosting morale and motivating oneself and inspiring oneself. So got discouraged, and I thought, this is futile, it's not gonna happen. But what I really appreciate about who I've become, and I thank God for it, I can't take no for an answer. You cannot tell me no and I say, well, you can't, I don't know. My friend Ricardo said, Colette, that your strength and your weakness, you're very stubborn. And I don't think it's a matter of being entitled, but I just feel like there's always a way. And the first thing people oftentimes think to tell you when you ask something is no, without even thinking. And me know say you never think about no other solution. So I'm going to ask you again, right? That's how my mind works. So I decide, say, somebody are going to want me with everything I come with, Jamaican identity, no degree having, you're gonna want me and you're gonna like me. Kept applying. One organization got back to me and they interviewed me. They said we'll be in touch. They weren't in touch. So at this time I was like pumped, like, yo, somebody has expressed interest, and I don't know, maybe they were looking for someone different, somebody with more experience. That's another thing. They want to know that you have experience with children. I don't have that much. Yes, I worked at a summer camp for, summer job at a library, and I've done like career day talks, but that's about it. Well, I have nieces and a nephew, so that's experience there. I've babysat. But apart from that, nothing with much depth and tenure. So kept reaching out to these people, kept praying, God, please make them call me, please make them email me. You guys, I check email till my fool. I check my email. When I wake up, I would check my email, and it would really bring down my spirit to a point where I have to say, okay, Colette, when you wake up, you don't check your email until noon or until 5 p.m. Didn't work. But that's how much it was driving me crazy. And what I had to do was open up my mind to a lot of material, a lot of books, a lot of audios on how to manage your emotions and how to handle anxiety and this idea of being in control. And I remember the day when something said to me, how about you stop asking for these people? If you're going to pray, you keep praying about these people wanting you when the people, they clearly don't want you. Why not ask for you to be directed to the right people and that they're directed to you? Ask for that level of harmony. You can't go wrong with that. Call it divine intervention. I really believe it was God speaking, and I did just that. And I did some more research the same day, and I believe it was the same day or the next day. I applied to a program. The director of the program got back to me, interviewed me. He really liked me, and turns out he's a Bob Marley fan, and he was actually excited to have a Jamaican in his program and to give more people such an opportunity. So what do you say to that? So much thanks to be given. So yeah, did an interview with the school. I was so nervous about the interview. I remember the day I was on my period and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm nervous and I'm in pain. This is a disaster. But the administrator or the person from the school who did the interview was so nice, and she made me feel so relaxed. So the interview went well, and here I know, after the interview done, well, I'm gonna give you some time to think about it and to really decide if this is what you want. You guys, at this point in time, because I had done my TEFL certification 2021, like I completed it in October, and this was roughly around maybe July, right? So I've been waiting a minute. That's a lot of morale building over these months, and you're just hoping and praying. You don't know where it's gonna come from, but that is faith. Believing in something when there is no evidence of it. You create the evidence in your imagination. You believe that it exists already, and you give thanks for it. So at this point, she's like, you let us know if you're interested, and and I'm sorry, but I did desperate. I'm sorry. I'm like, I understand, but I've made up my mind. I want it. So official emails, official acceptance letters were issued, and I was now going to be a language assistant. I now had an internship at a school in Spain to teach English. So give God the glory. Yeah. Now that's part 1 of the saga. Part 2, because my battery is low, I'm gonna try to give you part 2 very succinctly, and I also don't really want to divulge too much about the heartache, but I'm going to tell you enough that would help you to avoid some pitfalls. Now, when it comes to applying for your student visa, you're gonna need things like proof of what you're going there to do. Whether you've been accepted into college or it's an internship, you're gonna need some acceptance letter. You're gonna need evidence of bank statement, typical passport, cost associated. What else? Honestly, I'm supposed to know this back and front because the process was just so tedious for me. What else will you need? If it is that you can't provide evidence that you have enough money in the bank, it is better for you to get sponsorship, because I think each country, they have a minimum of what you need to have in your account per month for the entire time you're going to be in that country. They want to know that you are able to support yourself. They don't want you come to them country and end up being a liability, right? End up asleep on the street. So internship, sponsorship, find out the minimum amount. Maybe maybe some countries won't have the specific amount enlisted. I actually emailed the embassy and I found that information out, and so I was able to prepare adequately. Now, first visa application, embassy recommended that I get some more stuff. Don't apply on everything, recommended that I sort a few things out, so that was rejected. Second application, so it rejected, right? Start a worry now, because me in my head, they are Spain already. So you would think that would I probably second and say no, I'm gonna apply again. Got what the people then tell me to get and reapplied. You guys, something so devastating happened. Basically, Spain was off the table, and I reached out to someone who could help. I was able to get help. Prayed about it so much. Now, I know maybe some of you watching, you're not religious, you're not, maybe not spiritual, don't believe in God. A lot of people, nowadays believe in, manifestation. I manifest. Yes, I do believe 100% in the power of your word, the power of your mind. However, in my belief, that power comes from God. And so in these moments when I feel defeated and like there's literally nothing else I can do, because God like to see when we work, Him like to see when we put out the effort. Trust me. When I feel like there's nothing else this mere human being can do, I have to reach out to the source who owns everything. Him own the country, or how can it not belong to me, right? So prayed about it, and He answered. And I made a post today on Instagram about, oops, my hand shaking. Oh man, this vlogging thing is crazy. Made a post on Instagram about this was an absolute miracle. A miracle where God Himself, the Lord, or Him angels, come down and say, yo, Lego, call it shirt, no. Let her go, no. And so I got the assistance that was necessary. So I was on my way to Spain again. But then got the visa, and I presume that the visa would be ready immediately, because in your visa it shows you a date of issue and a validity date. Guys, me booked my plane ticket and everything to come to Spain, and left for the airport, got driven down by Derek to go to Montego Bay to board my flight to Germany. Guys, the day is finally here. I'm getting ready now to leave to go to the airport in Montego Bay. I can't believe the day is finally here. Oh yeah, I have stuff to print too. Boy, we have so much ahead. Derek is gonna take me down to Montego Bay, which is about a 2 to 3 hour journey, and my flight is at 7:20. I have so much to catch you up on, and I will as soon as I'm there. I'm gonna be leaving home, man. I'm coming back in a couple months. My keys with my collection of keychains. I love to collect these. Pray for me, I beg you. Alright, so I'll catch you later. Baby is sweating. Nervous? Hello. I was talking about Derek, and I said that he left to go on the road, but he's missing something and he returned. You have any thoughts on? You have any thoughts on what happened yesterday? Or is there anything that you've learned? Any realization? Anything that you're reflecting on? Maybe about life and aspiring towards something? Did you learn anything?
No. Alright, wait. You don't learn anything. We know people are incompetent. Is that a lesson? No.
Burn!
But
Sorry to who he's talking about.
I don't know. It was just a tough day. It was a rough day. And having to process everything. And anyway, it forced me to surrender and just let go. When you realize you get to that point where you're not in control. You just have to let go and let God, and we were able to find a way. One thing that that I took away something from you, it's really that there's always hope. As long as you keep looking for that way out, for that option, that risk. It's something is gonna work out. It may not be how you expect or how you want it, but it works out.
Okay. And how you feel about? Thank you for sharing that. How you feel about me going down by myself again? You being at work?
Test run. Saturday was a test run.
You gonna miss me?
Of course.
Yeah.
That's why you asked me that on camera.
You go. All right. Bye, hon. Thank you for your time. Say bye to Derek, guys. We'll see him next week. And it was when I was ready to board and stuff that they say your visa isn't valid. Yes, it was issued on, say for example, the 2nd, but it says the validity date is the 8th. Could have been an error, maybe not, but it was a huge inconvenience. So what do I now have to do? Because I keep being met with setbacks, and let me not say that yet. Keep experiencing setbacks. So usually what I've learned to do when this is what I'm faced with, setbacks after setbacks, think solution. As long as there's a way to fix it, then it's okay. Once you have a solution and you have a way out, even if you don't, somebody knows of a solution, or somebody knows somebody who have a solution. This is the same, not taking no for an answer, right? So anyways, booked another flight for the next week, and you guys, I also want you to be wary and be very cognizant of the people around you who care about you, and the people who you might think have your best interest. They are going to, I want to say, what you might find is that they'll discourage you from what you're trying to do. They might try to talk you out of it. They might question you, is it worth it? And if you're not convicted enough, they might end up talking you out of your dream. And this is something you're gonna have to be very careful about, because these people, they care about you and they want you to be, they don't want you to get hurt. They don't want you to get disappointed. And so they start to project their own personal fears. And as much as they're trying to help, they're not being helpful. I'm not talking about cases where people really give you like some serious advice and look out for that. Although, what is serious? It's all about discernment, yeah? So I just thought I'd mention that, because during this period, and you know what? Actually, I have to be thankful that I have a lot of people who surround me, who, I don't know if maybe because they understand the type of person that I am, have this idea, have this goal, and I want it, and I'm gonna get it. So even if they're having their own personal doubts, they're not gonna approach me with it. And I appreciate that about my friends and family, or the ones who really get me and they get it. So I think I told the story. That's actually it. So here I am in Spain. I am now teaching English. So, so yeah, I'm now teaching English. At some point, I might be teaching the kids, or maybe not teaching them, but assisting the teachers, because that's what a language assistant is. But for now, I am teaching the staff. Myself and other people are teaching the staff. Hold on. I miss out. I missed out one very crucial part of the story. So when I felt that Spain was off the table and I was no longer coming here, and I got the assistance that I had reached out to get, because I had told the director of the program that I'm not going to make it. They now had to replace me and find somebody else to put in my position. So when I got this extraordinary news and be like, hey, something worked out, told me that, well, there was somebody else that we had interviewed and we liked them, and they've paid for their insurance and everything. So, oh yeah, insurance is something you need. This is all over the place. They've paid for their insurance, and so we're gonna go with them. So what the director did was reach out to the school and ask if they would accept a third assistant at the school, because there's now 3 of us at that school, and there are other people at another school in Spain, in Zaragoza, whatever. So had to wait like a couple weeks. So I'm like, how this one thing that was so devastating work out, and now I don't have a position. I want to tell you, say, fear and doubt, I lick me now, but me I fight it now. I tell you, say, man, I put on some prayer then. Long story short, the school said they'd love to have me, and here I am. So now that the essence of the story has been told, I don't have to worry so much about lighting. So yeah, I'm here in Spain now, and I'm teaching the staff English, and it's going well. It's so fulfilling, and it is so satisfying just to witness somebody learn something, somebody who didn't have all this information before, and to become so enlightened because they now have learned something that they can use and can perhaps make life easier for them. Yeah. I love it. And I shared with you earlier that I also just love being able to connect with people who are just not from the same background as I am. It does something to me. And honestly speaking, this is gonna sound very spiritual, but I feel closer to God to know that we're all made in His likeness, and we're not all that different because we're His children, Anyways, my Airbnb host. Oh gosh, let me tell you this. Listen, I couldn't find my previous Airbnb that I booked before coming to Spain. I didn't book it for that long, and I wasn't able to extend it because I was gonna stop, but there's a fountain nearby and it's a lot of noise, so I don't think that's a good idea. Alright, let's see. So my time at that Airbnb ended. I wasn't able to extend it, and I now needed somewhere to live because we haven't yet gotten no apartment. Myself and my other 2 colleagues are planning on renting somewhere together. So I was looking, and it seems like everywhere was booked, and everywhere that is close to the tram, which is the train that I take to go to school, everywhere that's close to that location at the center is booked or too expensive. So I found this Airbnb that, at first glance you're like, it's not the fanciest, and I really like fancy places. Even though I don't have a very fancy home, I just feel like traveling and paying money. I want a hotel for the price of motel. You see me? So my chest I'm gonna have chest money. So out of desperation, I ended up booking this place, or actually I had reached out to the host and be like, hey, you have a spare room? I want to book for the next day as well, but I need a place for tomorrow night and stuff. And he reached out and said, hey, well, I don't really rent this room, but it seems like you really need it, so I will accommodate you. And you guys, like I said, the place is not very fancy, and it's not so posh, and it's not so modern. But when I tell you that he is one of the nicest hosts that I've ever come across, and I've stayed in several Airbnbs, when I tell you that the man is just so warm and endearing, he's an older guy. I got a video because earlier today he has a Canon too. So earlier today, he asked me if I wanted or if I'm okay with him taking a picture, and I was like, yeah, that's okay. So I recorded him taking a picture of us, and I think I got a picture of him. His name is Rafael, and he's just the sweetest. He was sharing with me how to make paella, which is this, I hope I pronounced it right. It's this dish in Spain. It's very common, and he shared some of his with me. He was like, would you like some? And like, sure. He was sharing some of his favorite songs, because he loves music, and he plays the guitar as well. So I was asking him about his instruments that I saw hanging around the house, and he was like, yes, I have a piano too, do you play? I said, well, I was learning, but I don't remember. He said, well, you can remember. He was suggesting that I use it to practice a bit. And then last night I was telling him that I was gonna watch some Netflix, and so he was like, oh, I have Netflix too, and he was showing me some of his favorite shows like Queen's Gambit, and he's just wonderful. And I'm gonna miss him. I think I'd like to stay in touch with him because he's just very sweet, and it is a grand lesson for me to not look at what's glittering, because, and you know what, these are lessons that are not foreign to us. It's not a novelty. All that glitters isn't gold. A lot of times the gold is in the connection and the relationships that you have with people, and seeing each other's hearts. And I'm grateful for being reminded of that lesson. Honestly, I'm thankful to have met somebody like Raphael, and I'm thankful to have had the opportunity to have a lot of heart-to-hearts with this person who, I don't know, like otherwise our paths would not have crossed. God, I thank you for everything you've done and all that you've equipped me with, and the ways that you've made clear for me, the people that I've met, the people that I will meet, the people who will meet me, the stories that we will share, and the joy that we will bring to each other's life. And so that is why I'm here in Spain, to have the chance at a richer life, if even for a moment. Alright, you guys, so that's it for my Sunday sermon. I'm going to show you the rest of the part because it's truly beautiful. I love you and I'm rooting for you. My arm is burning. Bye.